Yesterday on Family Day, I introduced to you Boris and Ardyth Brott and this beautiful book, Here I Am, that Ardyth has written, gorgeously crafted, beautifully illustrated. And we're going to make this a special offer to you today as well as we did yesterday. But before we talk to the Brotts, a lot of you know about Maestro Boris Brott. He's very respected internationally. He's a recognized conductor of symphonies and operas. He's a motivational speaker. But what you probably don't know is that he's an enthusiastic community volunteer. Take a look at this.
I got involved in this program because Elvira Morrison gave me a phone call, and I'd never met her before. And she said, we have this little fledgling band here, and do you think you could possibly come? And John Piccone, who is volunteering his time as a band director. And of course, I know the Piccones from generations in Dundas. They had these fruit and vegetable stands in Dundas and then in Westdale. So I knew the family, and I thought, well, what a wonderful idea, and how great it is that they are in an elementary school taking on a music program, because it's really unusual. So I said yes, and I was quite happy to do it. And I came here, and I was really blown away by John and his program, and Elvira and the teachers, and the standard of education here, and the fact that the kids are really being inspired by being involved in music, which is a wonderful thing for them and for their future. Volunteering for me has been part of my life. In fact, there's a great blur between what's volunteering and what's actually professional. I've often said that I've been fortunate. I've never really worked in my life. I've played most of the time. So for me, it's a very different thing, this business of volunteering, because I don't look at it as separate from my life. Also, I'm in the kind of profession where at 67 years of age, I'm actually entering the zenith of my career rather than the nadir of my career. So for me, I'm still functioning, and I hope never to stop. I wouldn't know what to do. I think retirement is a dangerous thing for people. You have a sense of something ending, and then you have to find new beginnings, and it's very hard when you're older to find those new beginnings. So I believe if there's a continuum, you may have to leave one job and start another, and I've always been very entrepreneurial in my life, so I've started many different types of work. Motivational speaking, for example, that just fell into my life and became a very important component in the way I earned a living. Teaching, for example, which was not something I really knew that much about, but I kind of fell into. So for me, it's, and I think it's for everybody. There are no endings. You mustn't look at that. There are always new beginnings, and new passions that you say, wow, I'm really interested in this. I want to do this. And I think endings are dangerous, because endings can also be predictorial. They can really predict your end, and you don't want to do that. Our world tends to get cut up in little boxes. For most people, you have a job, the job ends, then what? Or you have a family, the family grows up and leaves the house. Unless, of course, you're Italian or Jewish, in which case they stay there forever. But in most normal families, let's put it this way, you finish your child bearing and your child rearing ages, and they go finish school and they're gone. So they come to visit occasionally, but there's a huge emptiness that's left in your life. And I think that you have to bridge those. The answer is bridging those. You can't wait till it ends. You have to start already while it's still going and make the transition. And you can find that there are many things that you can insert yourself into, and that will uplift your spirit as well as give to others. The most joyous time is reflected joy. I think that we love to see in others the fact that somehow what we've done has been acceptable to them, and that they've enjoyed it, and that we've given something back. You want to see that reflection in other people. When I see others and see in their eyes a sense of, I'm enjoying that, or I'm enjoying your company, or I am enjoying the process that we're going through. That, I think, is my greatest joy.
So Boris and Ardyth are here. You were here yesterday. Welcome back. Before we get into the book, just one quick question. You're with these students. You also conduct huge orchestras internationally, professional musicians. What kind of adjustment do you have to make when you're standing in front of a bunch of grade 8 students that you don't have to make when you're standing in front of a bunch of professionals?
Interestingly, none.
Really?
Because they're all human beings.
Yeah.
And my job, if it's a job, if you want to call it that, is inspirational, uplifting, to create moments of magic for them, if I can. And it's searching within myself and somehow making a connection to them.
So it's more than beating out the time. You're drawing something out of them.
Conducting the physical and even the musical aspect of it is taken for granted. It's something that is part of the preparation. Yeah. It's like an education, university education. We often confuse education with job training. It's not. It's a background. It's the basis upon which you build what you're able to do. But your abilities, and those are God-given abilities, are the ability of creating a lifeline, a communication. And so that's what it's all about, whether they're people who are professionals or in many ways the kids are more tender because they're anything that you might say could work negatively, particularly if it's in the element of conducting or critical comment or ways in which you might affect them by saying something negative to them. So one has to be particularly careful. You have to have a kind of guardian angel, if you will, over your shoulder to make sure that in the passion of the moment, especially to professionals as well, that you don't in some way create a message that's negative. I'm a great believer in positivity, and it's something I've come to over the years, not something I was necessarily born with.
No, speaking of positivity, Ardyth, let's shift to you. Here I am. We talked about the book yesterday. I want to talk about it some more. Having reflected on it, I was just reviewing the back where it says, "Here I am takes children and the child and all of us back to the incredible journey of our birth. Told through the eyes of an about-to-be-born child, explores insights, family relationships, mysteries of unknown sounds. Also encourages the reader to delve back to our earliest mystery, the mystery of our birth." As I saw the galleys a few months ago and then went through the book itself, so beautifully done, I thought, this is more than a physical story here. This is a spiritual story. There's a definite spiritual component here. It's more poetry than prose.
Oh my goodness, what a great compliment. Thank you. It is, I think, like all stories. I tried to make it very simple. I tried not to give it too much detail. And the thought for me that hundreds and thousands of kids will read this story, but not only read it, they'll think about it. And they'll think about it in the company of their parents, their grandparents, each other. And I think there is a spirituality about that.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
if I can just break in, I think one of Ardyth's greatest gifts is that of simplicity. There's a hymn that is beautifully set to music by Aaron Copland called "'Tis a Gift to be Simple, 'Tis a Gift to be Plain." And I think Ardyth has that gift, not necessarily to be plain. She's quite beautiful, but gorgeous. Beautiful of spirit as well as beautiful physicality. But she does have that tremendous gift of simplicity. And in all her stories and in her upbringing of our children, I think that's been a paramount, and including the fourth child, me, that simplicity really rings true.
When you saw the book in its final form, what impact did it have on you?
It was just so, I was so thrilled. I'd seen the galleys for several months, but when you hold that in your hand, it's like holding a newborn.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was just
actually,
yesterday.
I just pick it up and you turn the pages, and my first instinct, I sat down very quietly by myself, went into a room, shut the door, and I just read it out loud to myself as if I were telling myself the story again. But it is, I find, yes, it is a very spiritual story, firstly for me. But
it's also a gift to others, and it's something we want to share. And Ardyth, I mean, we've had this experience of having 3 children together and watching them grow up, and I think this is such a beautiful story. I hope that those who experience it and share it with their children will also have that same connection and feeling of specialness that we feel.
You know, I commented yesterday on the deep voice. I can't get over this. I love this deep voice. And here, let's just look over my shoulder here, friends. Now I'm not alone. There are lots of voices. People are saying to Mummy and deep voice, congratulations, it's a boy or a girl. I think I should be congratulated too. After all, I had a very exciting journey. I don't know what a girl or a boy is. I thought I was just a person. I guess being a girl or a boy is okay. My eyes are open now. I can see things that are dark and light. The voices are louder, much louder, which it reminded me, I was there for all three of our kids' births, you know, and I was thinking of the shock of this little baby who's been so well protected, suddenly coming out into this bright light and cold air and people in white and equipment and sounds. It must be a real jolt for a little person.
Well, it is. And you remember when your kids are quite small, they will ask you, they will say, well, you know, I can't remember, did it hurt? And they'll want to know the details. And I think this addresses that. Yeah. And that's when we say it's spiritual. When I was getting my makeup done, there's a little sign in the mirror, and it says, "It's not all about me," and I believe that. I mean, this book it's about who you are, but it's about who you are in relation to your family and in relation to those who love you. It's the story. It's your own story, but it's your story, your journey beginning in a family, and no matter how big or small your family is.
Well, you know, friends. We made the offer yesterday. I know a lot of you have already responded. This is the last day. This is only a 2-day offer. If you want your copy of this precious book, Here I Am, which I can endorse with my full enthusiasm, log on to crossroads.ca or call us at 1-800-265-3100. Right now, limited time offer. And remember, your very best ministry gift to Crossroads. And we're so delighted that the Brotts, in all of their busyness, have come by and shared this with us, and we look forward to hearing reports on how well this book is doing. Who knows, it may go everywhere, Ardyth.
I hope so.
And I hope it does. Thanks for coming our way.
Thank you.
Thanks to the Brotts. Back with more after this.